Swimming like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank.
Well, good afternoon. Welcome to the Charleston Shrimp Tank podcast, where we interview the brightest and best entrepreneurs in the state of South Carolina. And our guest today is also my co-host, Ken Harrell, who is one of the premier lawyers in the state of South Carolina, and also they have a fantastic law firm called the Joye Law Firm, where Ken and his partner Mark Joye are the owners, founders, etc. And when it comes to personal injury, you'll see Ken all the time on TV, the billboards, all the time you'll see this gentleman, and he usually doesn't look like this. He usually has hair, but he went with shave the head April month, and he's growing it back. But it's still a good look for you. I like the hair better, but it's okay. But I'm happy to have you. We had a great audio session that you can listen to on iHeartRadio, iTunes. There's so many places you can listen to podcasts. But just to give everybody a trailer of what we talked about, you know, one of the things with law firms, especially personal injury law firms, is there is so many of you out there, and there's so many attorneys out there, and there's commercial after commercial, whether they're good commercials, horrible commercials, but there's so much competition in this world, and your commercials are great, by the way. I'm not just saying it, it's true. But how do folks really choose? How do they know who to go with when it comes to this? It's so hard because you're seeing all this stuff constantly in your face. And if I got injured in a car accident,
sure, how
do I know I should call the Joye Law Firm versus these other firms?
Well, and it can be overwhelming. Certainly I would say, depending on the severity of your injury. I mean, if you've got a life-altering injury, if you've got something that's potentially going to keep you from going back to work, affect your ability to make a living, I would hope that you're not just making a decision based on a TV ad, because I don't think you'd want to make a decision based on a 30-second message. Although I will say that if you are watching TV ads, you probably ought to look at the nature of those messages and what's being said to decide, is that really a firm that I want to handle something that could be life-altering for me? I've often said to people, listen, if you get in a car accident and you have a neck strain and you are in pain for a few weeks, it's not going to make that much difference which lawyer you hire. I mean, it really isn't, because your case is not going to be worth that much anyway. So wherever you hire, the biggest high-volume guy in town, or Joe Blow, who's got his shingle hung out on the corner, on a case like that, it's not really that crucial. When it does become crucial, again, is the more severe the injury is, or if, God forbid, if you've had a loved one who's been killed, then you've got to make the right decision. What are some of the things you can do? I mean, by all means, look at the websites. Look at results. You want to see the type of results that a firm's obtained. Not that it guarantees what they're going to get on your case, but if you know that a firm has had multiple $1 million plus verdicts and settlements, that tells you that, hey, these guys have experience handling really serious cases, and especially if it's verdicts, because it's one thing. I always joke that the easiest way to get $1 million settlement is to have a $2 million case. Anybody can settle a case, but you want to see, is there a track record there of this firm being able to take the tough cases and the big cases into a courtroom and get a big result?
Because a lot of these firms, I would assume that we watch commercials minute by minute, they're not trying the case. They're just settling and trying to move on to the next one, and it's all about the volume. Is that what you're basically?
I think that's fair. Again, I'm not denigrating any other firm. Everybody has their own practice model. But certainly, if you talk to, judges, for example, and the insurance companies know. I mean, if you'll know, well, how does that affect the value of my case if I hire law firm A versus law firm B? The insurance companies know which firms have the capability to take a case to trial and which firms are willing to take a case to trial. We had a case last fall involving a pretty prominent insurance company. Their offer was $15,000 to our client, who ended up having a cervical fusion surgery. They only had a $50,000 policy. We tried the case in Dorchester County last fall, got a $2.2 million verdict.
Wow.
And now, because of the way they handled it, and it hasn't been resolved yet, that we have significantly expanded what they're likely to pay because of the bad faith exposure and the way they handle that case. Well, I can promise you that the next time that insurance company has a pretty significant case with the Joye Law Firm, they will remember that experience and they're going to value the case.
Wow, that's a scary story, especially had they not come to you. They could have just settled for $15,000 at some of these firms. And so I think you've answered that question great. You really do need to look at the results and see if these firms are trying the cases versus just settling. It's probably a good question to ask. I never really thought about it, but it totally makes sense. Well, I look forward, Ken, to the adventure you and I are about to take by interviewing some of the greatest entrepreneurs in the state of South Carolina. The Shrimp Tank Charleston, you can see this video. Obviously, you're watching it, but it's www.shrimptankcharlestonpodcast /Charleston.com. So I'm Eric Elkins. I am an entrepreneur. I own Double E Insurance and Financial Solutions. This is my co-host, Kenny Harrell, owner of the Joye Law Firm. We look forward to seeing everyone, and hopefully people can get some great ideas with the different entrepreneurs that we're going to meet with over the next, hopefully decades. So look forward to it.
Same here.
I've been feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond.